24 people shot in just 4 days. And yes, you heard that correctly, 24. And that is just in the city of New Orleans. 7 people total dead, and 4 of those deaths were in Algiers over the weekend. Now, last night during the show, we talked a little bit about our crime issue, but during the 6 minutes of that show, we received 3 emails from NOPD pertaining to 5 separate shootings. That was last night alone. Those 5 shootings injured 6 people and killed 1 person. And those shootings were all over the city, from Holly Grove to Central City to near Suno's campus.
There's a real concern about the number of New Orleans police officers on the streets right now. Jeff Asher, a crime analyst, gave a presentation to the New Orleans City Council today about it. Just yesterday, they reported just over 1,000 New Orleans police officers. That's an incredibly low number, the lowest, in fact, since the 1930s. Asher says it's 4% less than just the beginning of the year and 11% less than December of 2020. And this really is having an impact on response times. You can see it here. Those response times had been climbing. They went down. Now they were going back up. Huge impact there. First quarter of the year, the average for calls for service was 128 minutes. For emergency incidents, those are the real serious responses. The average response time right now, according to Asher, is 28 minutes. For non-emergency calls, it is 163 minutes.
And Katie, crime in New Orleans was part of the conversation during a town hall meeting in Algiers tonight. That area saw a huge spike in deadly shootings over the weekend, as I just mentioned. As Mike McDaniel explains in tonight's top story, the numbers are part of a larger problem.
There's been a lot of violence in the city of New Orleans in recent days, specifically shootings, which is adding to a concerning trend.
They came with individual issues like infrastructure and trash, but the one that united everyone at this town hall in Algiers Tuesday was crime.
It's a big issue, but we all are working together to get this resolved.
In the 24 hours between Friday and Saturday mornings, there were 5 shooting deaths in New Orleans, 4 of them in Algiers, where Jermaine Lewis has lived since 1957.
You can't go anywhere. You're afraid to go to the grocery store. You're afraid to come out to meetings.
It's not just an Algiers problem. By the time the weekend was up, 6 people were shot to death and 12 injured citywide. Shootings continued through the week.
Now we're averaging almost 2 people shot per day over the last 2 years. And that's a really dramatic increase.
Jeff Asher with AH Datalytics presented a report to the City Council's Criminal Justice Committee Tuesday. It shows murder has increased by nearly 40% since the beginning of the year compared to this time last year.
If you'll recall, 2021 murder was up relative to the first quarter of 2020. So it's basically 2 straight years of increasing murder numbers.
Asher says more people now moving around since the start of the pandemic plays a role. And while the hope is for things to get better, there's no evidence of that.
The trend is still up. There's no evidence. I mean, we had a horrific weekend last weekend. We've had yesterday, I think, was bad. The day before was bad. I mean, when you're averaging 2 shootings a day, it's bad pretty much every day.
These folks in Algiers are tired of bad days.
That's just not acceptable. But the police can't control some of the crime.
Statistically, here in Algiers, we're safer than anywhere else in New Orleans. But you're right, it's still high and unacceptable.
This meeting is part of a series from Councilman Freddie King, who says he's personally working at the ground level with things like job fairs and outreach to try and curb crime overall. Reporting from Algiers, Mike McDaniel, Eyewitness News.